Welcome to Week in Minutes. Have a nice day. Today is Monday, 25th of August 2025. Starting the newspaper with the world news, including Canadian Prime Minister Khan in Ukraine says can't rule out sending peacekeepers. Four Palestinians shot dead by Israeli forces while seeking aid near Gaza City, witnesses say. Russia blames nuclear site attack on Ukraine as Kyiv marks Independence Day. Zelensky says we need peace. Israel strikes Yemen capital after Houthi attack. Presidential palace fuel site hit. Russia and Ukraine exchange 146 prisoners each, Russian defense ministry says. Nigerian Air Force frees 76 kidnapped people, one child dies during rescue. From the Hindu newspaper, we have Israel strikes hit Yemen capital Sana'a. The attack comes 2 days after Houthi militants fired a missile towards Israel. Sana'a residents said the strikes targeted areas near presidential complex, missile bases, and oil island power stations. The Israeli military said on Sunday, August 24, 2025, that they attacked the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. The announcement comes after the Houthi-run Al-Masirah TV reported about the attack. Sana'a residents said the strikes targeted areas near the presidential complex, missile bases, and oil and power stations. On a Friday, August 22, 2025, the Houthis said they had fired a ballistic missile towards Israel. An Israeli Air Force official said on Sunday, August 24, 2025, the missile most likely carried several munitions intended to be detonated upon impact. This is the first time that this kind of missile has been launched from Yemen, the official said, since Israel's war in Gaza against the Palestinian militant group Hamas began in October month of 2023. The Iran-aligned Houthis have attacked vessels in the Red Sea in what she described as an act of solidarity with the Palestinians. They have also frequently fired missiles towards Israel, most of which have been intercepted. Israel has responded with the strikes on Houthi-controlled areas, including the vital Houthi report. Israeli forces killed 4 more aid seekers as northern Gaza braces for looming offensive. The deaths add to the growing toll of Palestinians killed while seeking food as parts of the Gaza Strip plunge into famine and Israel's military ramps up activity in the northern Gaza ahead of planned offensive to seize its largest city. A Palestinian man rides a bike as smoke rises following an Israeli strike in Gaza City, August 24, 2025. Israeli forces killed 4 air seekers traveling on Sunday, August 24, 2025, through a military zone south of Gaza City, an area regularly used by the Palestinians trying to reach a food distribution point, a hospital and a witness said. The deaths add to the growing toll. Palestinians killed while seeking food as the parts of the Gaza Strip plunge into the famine and Israeli military ramps up activity in the northern Gaza ahead of a planned offensive to seize its largest city. Al-Afda hospital and 2 eyewitnesses told the Associated Press and that the 4 Palestinians were killed when the troops opened fire on the crowd heading to a site run by the Israeli-backed American contractor Gaza Humanitarian Foundation or GHF in the Netzidim corridor area. It occurred hundreds of yards away from the site. Pentagon restricts Ukraine's use of United States missiles against Russia, WSJ reports Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The news came as President Donald Trump has grown more frustrated publicly over the 3-year-old war and his inability to secure a peace deal between Russia and the Ukraine. The Pentagon has been quietly blocking Ukraine from using United States-made long-range army tactical missile systems (ATACMS) to strike targets inside Russia, limiting Kyiv's ability to employ these weapons in its defense against Moscow's invasion. The Wall Street Journal reported on Saturday, August 24, 2025, citing United States officials. Ukraine drone attack causes a fire capacity reduction at Russia's Kursk nuclear power plant, and there were no injuries. But as a result of the denotation, Unit 3 of the plant was reduced to 50% capacity. File image of the Kursk nuclear power plant. A Ukrainian drone attack sparked a short-lived fire at a Kursk nuclear power plant, damaged an auxiliary transformer, and led to reduction in the operating capacity at one of the plant's units. The plant's press service reported early on Sunday, August 24, 2025, that a combat unmanned aerial vehicle (UAV) belonging to the armed forces of Ukraine was shot down by air defense system near the Kursk nuclear power plant. The press service said in a statement on the Telegram messaging application. Now, from the Hindustan Times newspaper states that India carries out a maiden test of a multi-layered air defense system. Odisha, August 24, DRDO Defense Research and Development Organization successfully conducted the maiden flight tests of the Integrated Air Defense Weapon System (IADWS) off the coast of the Odisha on Sunday. New Delhi, India has successfully tested a new integrated air defense system consisting of a variety of weapons that shot down 3 targets at the different altitudes and ranges of the coast of Odisha, the Defense Ministry said on Sunday. The development comes days after the Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the creation of a formidable military capability to defend India's military and its civil installations against the aerial attacks, and set a 10-year deadline for developing an indigenous air defense shield integrated with offensive weapons under the mission Sudarshan Chakra. The maiden test of the Integrated Air Defense Weapons System (IADWS), which is expected to be part of the bigger national security shield announced by the Prime Minister, was conducted by the Defense Research and Development Organization on Saturday. Now, from the economy of the country, from the business point of view, as European Union buckles under United States pressure on climate trade regulations, India to press for similar relief in upcoming talks. European Union carbon tax India-European Union Climate Deal 2025, the carbon tax which will ensure that imported carbon-intensive goods into the European Union bear a carbon cost starting January 9, 2026, is seen by several developing nations as discriminatory. Negotiations on the entire gamut of climate-related trade rules have been among the most challenging areas in the India-European Union trade deal. Targeted by Trump with the sky-high tariffs, India and Brazil appear set to deepen crude oil supply partnership. Trump has also targeted Brazil with a 50% tariff over what he has termed as a witch hunt against the former Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro, who is seen as an ally of Trump. Prime Narendra Modi with the Brazilian president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in Rio de Janeiro on Sunday. From an academia to industry, renewed calls to India to transform it into a product nation aimed at United States' punitive tariff action. In a way, this has intensified a consensus that cuts across academia into industry, that going forward India has to strive to transform into a product nation, and that the country needs to produce some things that it does not better than the others if it has a bid to be relevant in the global geopolitical sense. The bigger the economy, chances are the country would be taken more seriously by others, but more strategic its products or service offering, the greater it is its strategic leverage. Now, from science and tech, we have ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, completed first integrated airdrop test for Gaganyaan. The ascent, descent, and post-splashdown phases of the Gaganyaan mission are expected to be the most risky for astronauts. In this image, on August 24, 2025, ISRO embarks on the first integrated airdrop, a test IADT first of its Gaganyaan program. The Indian Space Research Organization successfully carried out its first integrated airdrop at Test IADT Post, a critical milestone in a preparation for the country's maiden human spaceflight program, Gaganyaan, on August 24, 2025. ISRO successfully accomplished its first integrated airdrop test IADT Post for end-to-end demonstration of the parachute-based declaration system for Gaganyaan mission, ISRO write on Platform X. Extended working hours will harm health and work-life balance, feel 44% respondents report. The report also revealed that there is a strong desire for transparency and including decision-making. Around 79% of the respondents have said that they would want to be actively involved in the consultation around any changes to work hours, advocating for open communications and collaborative policymaking. There is a strong resistance among the employees towards the idea of extending working hours with additional benefits or flexibility, with 44% respondents citing it will have a negative impact on the personal time, health, and or well-being, said a report. However, 40% of the respondents said that they would consider accepting longer hours only if appropriate compensation were offered. According to the Genius Digipolar report, is extended work hours a deal breaker. Nearly half of employees would quit. By workforce staffing service and HR solutions provider Genius HR Tech, formerly known as the Genius Consultants. The report further revealed that there is a strong desire for transparency and including in decision making. Around 79% of the respondents have said that they would want to be actively involved in the consultations around any changes to work hours, advocating for open communication and collaborative policy making. The modern workforce is not resistant to change. They seek fairness, empathy, and dialogue. Pushing longer hours without thoughtful planning will only widen the gap between the management and employees. Companies must realize that productivity is not just about time spent, but energy invested. Genius HR Tech Chairman and Managing Director R.P. Yadav said. What are the uses of the wastewater surveillance? There is a question for the environment. Study so far, the Council of Medical Research (ICMR), Indian Council of Medical Research, will initiate wastewater surveillance for 10 viruses across the 50 states over the next 6 months. Currently, 5 states are being monitored. The move is aimed at identifying any increase in virus growth trend at the earliest, said ICMR head Rajiv Bahal. The next 6 months will see the scaling up of surveillance across India, which will enable us to pick up any rise in the virus load in the community. Currently, the COVID-19 virus and polio virus are under the surveillance, explained Dr. Bahal. He added that the wastewater surveillance will now be used to monitor more commonly reported symptoms caused by the several pathogens such as fever, diarrhea, acute encephalitis syndrome, inflammation of the brain, and respiratory distress. The Indian Council of Medical Research is involved in establishing environmental surveillance for viruses, including the avian influenza virus (AIV), by monitoring surface water and wastewater, particularly in areas with the outbreak, to establish an early warning system. India also has a robust surveillance system for influenza-like illness (ILI) and severe acute respiratory illness (SARI). Through Indian Council of Medical Research and the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program (IDSP), wastewater and environmental surveillance (WES) use samples from sewage or other environmental water impacted by human wastewater. Indigenous clocks delay. ISRO's plans to replace defunct NAVIC satellites. An official says while the rubidium clocks are based on an indigenous design, they are the key components that need to be imported, and this is contributing to procurement challenges and delays in commissioning. MVS second undergoing a vibration test. Officials of the Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) say they are looking at launch at least 3 satellites before 2026 and to replace default satellites that they are part of the Indian GPS NAVIC navigation with the Indian constellation system. However, there seems to be a key element impeding the launch development of the indigenous clocks. These high precision clocks are now proposed at a 5 per satellite. What provides accurate timings and hence location services to users on the Earth, and the NAVIC satellites provide more accurate location services to the military, slightly less accurate one of the civilian purposes. 9 satellites of the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System (IRNSS), informally called NAVIC, have been launched since 2013. 8 of them reached their intended orbit. The last of this constellation of the satellites and IRNSS Second was launched in 2018. These constellations of satellites are akin to be the Russian GLONASS, the Chinese Beidou, the American GPS, and the European Galileo constellations of the satellites are to provide location services. However, the NAVIC is expected to do so only with the India and the radius of 1500 kilometers. This is, however, we would more a pull back a system in the case of future global conflicts and the India being denied access to these foreign constellations. Last month, the ISRO revealed via right information request that 5 of the NAVIC satellites were completely defunct, with all 3 of their clocks in each satellite not working. In one of the 3 satellites with the functioning atomic clocks, 2 of the 3 clocks have failed. Only 2 satellites of the constellations therefore have functional atomic clocks. The atomic clocks in these constellations of satellites were imported by the ISRO from the firm Spectra Time. Now, at last, there's a famous leader of India who is known by his famous name, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Birth anniversary 2nd October 1869 up to 30th January 1948. Was an Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and a political atheist who employed non-violent resistance to lead the successful campaign for the India's independence from British rule. He inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. The honorific Mahatma, from the Sanskrit meaning great soul or venerable, first applied to him in South Africa in 1914, is now used throughout the world. Gandhi's birthday, 2nd October, is commemorated in India as Gandhi Jayanti and a national holiday, and worldwide as International Day of Non-Violence. Gandhi is considered to be the father of the nation in post-colonial India. During India's nationalist movement and in several decades immediately after, he was also commonly called Bapu, and India meant roughly meaning the father. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi says a famous quotation. He said that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. He also says that your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Okay, thank you.